Chelsea Manning, and I approve this message.
What is the See Her Award? It's an award designed to recognize the importance of accurately portraying women across the entertainment landscape. It's extremely challenging to strive for fairness and parity across all genders, and to face and expose their greatest fears and push through them.
We don't need more or better leaders. We need someone willing to fight.
But in the form of a real woman in every way, and inspiring the heroes who are going to save this world.
As part of this movement, we created the #SeeHer Award to honor women who embody the values of empathy, resilience, and courage.
I truly believe that the privilege of a lifetime is being who you are.
And it was clear to me that I wanted to portray a strong and independent woman, a real one.
Being president is a serious job.
Walking and holding hands.
With my husband Michael and hold hands.
Holding hands.
With my husband Michael and hold hands. It's like a whole new world for me. Just walking and holding hands. Being president is a serious job.
Godless sodomites.
We're here to talk about the end of the world.
And anybody who believes that I am a man obviously is an idiot.
She's a man.
He's lying! Shut up!
My mom said to me, you know, sweetheart, one day you should settle down and marry a rich man. And I said, Mom, I am a rich man.
Give me those.
You pricked my finger.
You're such a woman.
Well, you were the woman.
No, I'm the man.
Then who am I?
I'm a tranny. I'm a man.
Hey guys, today let's take a look at Milla Jovovich, Ukrainian model and actor, made famous by the Resident Evil franchise. Many films have been made about this tough woman in a dystopian post-apocalyptic future with the T-virus taking over humanity. Kind of sounds like headline news these days, in fact. The T-virus is coming. It seems to have taken hold of Milla Jovovich. The bathing suit has curves in all the right places, fooling us into believing the body does as well, but the body does not follow the shape of the clothing. As you can see there, wide shoulders, the same ratio to the hips that you would find on a man. It's a man with makeup on. You can see the straight up and down torso, the large skull. Look at that body right there, right? I mean, it's shapeless. A piece of lumber, hand in the pockets, and look at those hips right there. Those are not female hips that would get wide. Now it's bending the body like they always do, but you can see the male hip bones there on the sides below the belly button. That's a smoking gun right there. Those are male hips, not female hips. And combined with the wide shoulders. So sitting down there, it's all, touched up and smooth, shaven. Now, on the right, the hips come out more, but that's just because of the dress. Maybe put some padding in there. Look at those muscular thighs. Look at those muscular arms as well. Milla's been working out and getting male muscle development, not female muscle development. There looks like a pretty girl. There, not so much, right? Not so much. And there, looking more like a demonic creature from the abyss. Pretty girl and creature from the abyss. They all got that weird look in their eyes. There it is again, the body, straight up and down torso. Bending the body out to the left, hand on the hips, like they always have it. Oh, hand off the hips. Put the hand back on the hips, please, because we really don't want to see that. That's a male body, all right? Look at the belly button. Look at the hips. Look at the shoulders, the skull. Look wherever you want, man. I don't care. You're looking at a dude in a bathing suit. When you look closer at the evidence here, you see a wide-shouldered man with lipstick and makeup. Covers of magazines promoting the androgynous, transhumanist, post-gender look, as they always do, right? They're teaching our children to be androgynous just like they are. They're pushing this image. They're pushing their religion on people, right? There's no such thing as the secular world. It's their Freemasonic, Babylonian, Egyptian religion. Covers of magazines, deceiving both men and women. Seems to be having a good time. Look at that big old thick neck, right? Big tranny jaw, face. Looking like a vampire. Curving the body, doing the old serpent bend. Look at the square jaw there, right? As well as the wide shoulders. Seems to have all the ribs there. Okay, now you see the, the old ring finger thing, longer than the index finger there. Just another piece of data to throw into the analysis. Look at here. The shoulders are getting wider, it would seem, right, as it gets older. And this person's just getting larger all around. The inner male, they can only fight it for so long, and then it has to come out, you know. Oh, look at those hips again. So who knows where that baby came from? Didn't come from this body. They have a breeding program and an adoption program and a marriage program. It's all a big show, man. It's a program, just like on TV. It's fiction. It's just a man with makeup pretending to be a woman and doing a pretty good job, I guess, as good as they do these days, right? Look at the back, man. Come on. Lolita, there it says right there on the magazine. You would never guess that was a boy, right? A prepubescent boy can easily pull off looking like a girl because they haven't gone through puberty yet. Now, is that a guitar? Yeah, the joke there. Look at that big old face like they always do. It's just a little too big, and they always got this look on their face like they're lost, like they're like, where am I? They're like a bit confused all the time. They're kind of thinking, is today the day they're going to figure out I'm a man? This magazine here is 17, right? You got to brainwash people, start young when they're teenagers. That's a very masculine pose, of course, wearing women's lingerie and stuff, but don't let that fool you. Look at big old hair, right? The big hair, the lion's mane, kind of covers up the whole head thing. That's a big head and wide shoulders. The hair covers the shoulders as well. Look at that shoulder area. It's very male, right? That's very male looking. Not looking so happy in that photo. You can see the eyebrow ridges there pretty clearly. Again, looks like it has female hips on first glance because it's bending like that, but it's really just the way it's bending the body, distorting the body. Again, another one of those poses where they bend the back up like that, so you think that's female curves right there. Joan of Arc. Yeah. Now, that looks like a boy to me, right? Is that a boy or a girl, right? Was Joan of Arc a tranny? I don't know. If you met this person in a bar, it's like, wait a minute. It's deception. Come on. Wake up from the illusion. That's a very male pose, as I think we can all imagine. There's just one thing that's not there. Otherwise, it's easy to imagine. Now, look at this pose here, right? Okay, now androgyny. Here's something I found. State of being male, female with complete sexual identity. According to early Gnostic tradition, Adam was created as an androgynous human. Gospel of Thomas, which is not biblical, that's a Gnostic piece of literature, proclaims androgyny as salvational union, perfection. And they get the Baphomet right there, their goat god. And now they're pushing their religion, their gender fluidity on children. Gender fluidity is just a fancy word for androgyny. That's Hollywood for you. Deception, special effects.
All right, let's try it again. Hit it.
No, Michelle is a tramp.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
a transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. It's okay.
I puked yesterday. I'm a puker.
Did you really?
Yeah, I'm a big time puker. I think I have like nervous. I think that I don't stop working. I'm just like, because I'm a show pony. I don't have a choice.
Unlike Beyonce, who is definitely pregnant, no questions asked. Until now.
There are actually a lot of people that believe this rumor, and it's crazy. I guess there are some crazy celebrities in the world, so we get a bad rep. But to think that I would be that vain, there's certain things that you just shouldn't play around with. And a child, you don't play around with that.
We take the unfertilized egg of an ovulating female and destroy all of its genes and chromosomes. We then implant the nucleus of the donor cell. That cell, with its genetic material intact, eventually becomes an embryo and is born as a living creature.
Without parents?
Well, it has no father because the egg was never fertilized, no mother because its genetic code comes from another being.
This can be done with humans?
If the surgical technique were precise enough.
It's monstrous, Doctor.
Why? Wouldn't you want to live in a world full of Mozarts and Picassos?
I feel that the royal duty, in a way, is slightly more inbred. It has to be. I mean, it has to be trained, in a way.
This image is quite disturbing. What does it represent?
The underworld. Hell. Where the unrepentant are sent upon their death. Satan, a fallen angel, is surrounded by the souls of the damned.
I find it curious that you believe the soul can survive the death of the body.
It is the cornerstone of our faith, that the soul is immortal, meant for everlasting life. The human soul interests you.
Yes, indeed, very much. For example, do you believe the body can exist without the soul?
It is the soul that makes us human. Without it, well, we would be nothing more than animals.
But you actually seem like a human being.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. Thanks.
Do you enjoy being a human being? Because human beings have a lot of
I
frailty.
do.
Yeah.
One time on Twitter, I heard Ariana was pregnant, so I got pregnant so we could be pregnant at the same time. Turns out it was just a rumor.
I bees in the trap, bees in the trap. I bees in the trap, bees in the trap. They ain't shit and they ain't saying nothing. 100 can't tell me nothing. I bees in the trap, bees in the trap. I bees in the trap, bees in the trap. Man, I'm been did dead. Man, I'm been popped out. And if she ain't tryna give it up, she get dropped out.
She walks up to me, so heavy on the one, with all the grace of a spider on a string. Satan is a woman. better means in killing. Could we go there instead? Yeah, yeah. Satan is a woman, and she knows my name. Only being human, I will hear her every refrain.
Why is nature always called Mother Nature? Perhaps it's because, like any mother, she quietly manages so much of our living without our ever realizing there's a woman at work.
But it is going to bother you because you're human, and I was human. I am human still. But I was just referring to myself in the past. Not that I was not human.
You do have a face that is not typically American. You could be Swedish, yeah.
Could be.
Yeah, or
it could be almost
Scandinavian,
anything.
yeah.
You can pinch me. I'm real. See? Oh yes.
Strangely hairless body you have. You're quite the dolphin, aren't you?
It's not easy being a lady.
Yeah, I tell you, you're absolutely hair-free.
Well,
are you a competitive swimmer?
You sound like you're from District 12.
What's that?
You're playing a guy, a guy. You've got that range. Let
I'm
me
so
just say
flattered.
that. You've got that range. That's a trick. That's an actor trick.
My breeding plans are reaching fruition. Lisa is fertile. And tonight, she and Tyler will mate.
We have still not learned how to extract the human soul. When Lisa's children are born, how will you control them?
Amy. She will provide the secret to blessing humans.
For every living thing in the universe, separation ceases, and we all become one being singing one song.
Track their health data and share their genomes.
History has certainly shown that even the most intuitive criminal investigator can be wrong from time to time. But if I am mistaken, if the lieutenant is indeed a woman, as she claims to be, then, my friend, she is suffering from the worst case of hemorrhoids I have ever seen! That's why Roger Podacter is dead! He found Captain Winky!
The irony in this,
you could potentially put a male face on the female.
Yeah, you could, but this head by scale is pretty small, so that's why I designed a completely new one.
for the male specifically.
But their time is up.
We don't need them anymore. We can do better.
We wanted her to be universal, to be an inspiration to all people all around the world. And our plan was to make sure we didn't give too much attention to the fact that she's a woman. Yeah?
So I want all the girls watching here and now to know that a new day is on the horizon.
I just can't wait until you start mixing genders with this stuff, right? Where you get like a male voice inside of a female body, or
That's high on my list of things to try.
the gender possibilities are sort of endless in the world, right? So why not have them also?
Well,
be
that's the
reflected?
idea. Eventually, I'm gonna merge the two so you can actually mix and match.
His 3-year-old saw the movie, and when the movie ended, the boy said, "When I grow up, I want to be a woman."
The time is up. The time is up.
Asia is a name given to that region of Turkey called Phrygia or Phrygia, where the great goddess or so-called great goddess Cybele and Aphrodite were also worshipped. Of course, they were all the same goddesses anyway, referred to as the Queen of Heaven. But what I want to bring your attention to is the fact that Pergamos is also located in Turkey and is very close to Ephesus. I brought this up before in my video called The Leviathan, Babylon, and the Seat of Satan. Pergamos is said to be the place where Satan's seat is, where Satan dwells. And in Pergamos there was a temple dedicated to the Queen of Heaven called the Sanctuary of Athena. Most people think of the altar of Zeus when they think of the seat of Satan, but I like to ask, where does a god sit? On an altar or in a temple? Obviously, the god sits in the temple. In this case is the Sanctuary of Athena. Remember that Acts 19 told us that it was the great goddess Diana who was worshipped in that region. And yes, the Bible said worshipped. So those who say that they're only trying to appear to worship the goddess are actually in contradiction to the Word of God. But to help you see that mystery Babylon the Great is the Queen of Heaven, I think it's important that we understand what the mystery religions are actually all about. So while some of the world's religions may be polytheistic, meaning they have many gods, the mystery religion, which lies at the root of all false religions, is pantheistic, meaning that God is everything and everything is God. According to these mystery religions, we all have that God, that quote God in us. So some call it the true self, some call it the Christ consciousness. The Freemasons refer to it as God and speak of it analogously as Hiram-Abiff, the slain builder who was buried before his temple could be completed. To spiritually evolve into godhood is to resurrect Hiram-Abiff, and the symbol of the resurrecting God is the rising sun. Through the years, the dying and resurrecting sun god has been an allegory for the fall into the material world and the spiritual evolution into godhood. I've probably explained this ad nauseum, but it's the tomb that the sun goes to when it sets. Now, here's where the goddess comes in. The tomb is the womb of the Mother Earth, and it's from here that the sun is resurrected or reborn. This can also be referred to as being born again. The goddess is the one constant because the sun cannot be born without her. In fact, according to this line of thinking, nothing can be born at all without a womb. That's why the pantheistic God that is everything is Mother Nature herself. And this is just another name for the Queen of Heaven. This is Mystery Babylon the Great. By the way, since I brought up the cycle of the sun, this is also known as the Osirian cycle. The sun god Osiris dies and descends into the underworld, where he remains until he is either resurrected by the earth and moon goddess Isis, or she gives birth to the sun god in the form of their son Horus. This is interesting considering that the Bible says of the sun god, or the son of perdition, that he is the beast who was and is not and yet is. This is the Osirian cycle. This is the dying and resurrecting sun god. And we have him identified in Revelation 9:11 as Apollyon, the angel of the bottomless pit. And his resurrection, or his revealing, is after the working of the mystery of iniquity, or should I say Satan, the queen of heaven. But getting back on track, once you are able to see Mother Nature as the god of the mystery religions, then the G inside the Masonic square and compass begins to make sense. Since this Masonic symbol is international, it only makes sense that the G would represent a word that is understood in all languages. Gaia, which is the Greek word, is well known throughout the world as a name for the earth and even nature. And it can easily be represented by this letter G, in my opinion.
In your college days, you earned money in quite a surprising way, which I didn't know.
Yes, very surprising.
You used to open up for a drag act.
I used to open up for these incredible drag queens in North Carolina at this club called the Paddock Club. And I used to, like,
what did you do?
Hot glue my sequins on a little shirt so I had an outfit.
But what would you do? What was your act?
I would dance. And they were very, I believe I wasn't hired because I was good. I believe I was hired because I was very enthusiastic.
Right.
And they made it rain for me. As if I believe that's where Make It Rain had. They would just like, they were amazing.
Sandra Bullock kept it all together, including the drag queens and George Lopez.
Oh, look at you, hon.
Now, why are there drag queens everywhere?
Because they're in the show. They make our film what it is. They are the foundation with which we rested the story. We put the story on top of the drag queens and the film works because they're strong.
The most difficult thing for me is to actually walk and talk with breasts that aren't mine in 6-inch stiletto heels.
I am not going out there as a woman pretending to be a man, pretending to be Tina Turner.
I was here before him. It's all right here on my list in alphabetical order. Tina, then Tina, then Tina. And you're all doing the same song anyway. What's the difference?
Smile. You smiling?
I am smiling.
Yeah, you ready?
Gracie, where'd you go?
I got my breasts. Hold on, I'll be back.
There's a close-up, ladies and gentlemen. And what does that look like? The Statue of Liberty. I'm sure it's total coincidence, ladies and gentlemen, that the statue on the left not only looks identical to the Statue of Liberty, but has the exact same rays coming off what is arraying her head as the sun rays, representing the 7 continents of the world. It is the sun god that presides over the world. This is Attis. Now, Attis is somebody you need to understand who he is, because Attis was the priest or the main servant of Cybele, or Ishtar, or the wife of Baal, the sun god. And he, in their craziness, let's just leave it that wink wink, of what went happen in those times, is he castrated himself, then would dress up, cross-dress as a woman, and wear this hat. This is a close-up of the castrated Attis on the left and Lady Liberty on the right. What I want to suggest to you when I got to this part is I thought to myself, oh my goodness, is Lady Liberty really a lady? Or is it Larry Liberty? I don't know. But I'm going to let you decide as we do a little bit close up here, and you tell me if that looks like a feminine face. Ignore the long hair. Remember, the priest of Ishtar wore long hair, they castrated themselves, wore robes like women, and wore these headdresses. Now, one more better for you. Here is her face before it is assembled.
Pass these out while I put it on the board. Get the lights.
Try one more time, sir.
And before you have the ability to look at the hair and be influenced, that's under construction.
Aside from needing to thank three very important people who do a lot of construction, my makeup artist, Pamela Westmore, Lana Vici, who does hair, and Joe Voorhees, who does my wardrobe.
So you can be the judge, ladies and gentlemen, but this little rabbit trail here, I believe, shows us that not only has Attis, or the priest of Ishtar, and sun god worship showing up all over Egypt, all over Rome, all over Greece, and everywhere else in the Eastern Mediterranean, but is on our soils and has infiltrated America today and has literally become the epitome and the torch of freedom. It's bondage.
To change the will of the people, Goebbels needs more powerful tools of propaganda. He sets his sights on nationalizing all of German media under his control. Newspapers, the newly evolving movie business, and radio. It will not only help him brainwash the German population, he will also create his own personal media kingdom.
Notice the nimbus, the halo of rays of the sun. This is an ancient pagan sun god. It's everywhere. This is not something they just made up. Helios, look at this, holding a torch. He's the Colossus of Rhodes, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Where did he get the idea of the torch? Ladies and gentlemen, he took a trip here. He took a trip to Egypt. He studied these things. This is what he saw. An over 100-foot Colossus of Helios with this headpiece on of the 7 rays of the sun. Don't tell me that that didn't influence him. The exact attributes of Helios or the Colossus and the sun god and all of those things show up in the Statue of Liberty.
I feel compelled to thank 3 unsung heroes in our entertainment business who have spent decades and decades making people better than they deserve to be, and without them, congeniality couldn't have happened. The first being the person who invented the tweezer, the second being the person who invented the support pantyhose, and the fourth being the inventor of the Wonder Bra. I got my breasts. Hold on, I'll be back.
He wants his propaganda inside every living room in Germany.
All of Germany's artists, writers, musicians, painters and sculptors together in one organization.
It's the first significant step on a road to absolute control of all media. This will become his empire and make him insanely powerful.
Da drüben auf dem Boden liegt meine Sprache. Okay, in was für großartigen Zeiten wir leben, weil irgendwann war ich mal Kellnerin, dann war ich Putzfrau, dann war ich Diskotänzerin, dann war ich Hundefriseuse. Wer hätte gedacht, dass alle diese Berufe mich eines Tages auf diese Bühne führen würden? Aber Tante Christel, Onkel Heinz, danke. Danke alle.
If I sold my soul to the devil, 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 if I sold my soul to the
So let me jump into and read this particular article. This is a short one. Now, this is not satire. This really happened. Joel Osteen, one of the modern day princes of the word, faith, prosperity, gospel movement, was seen at Lady Gaga's Pride celebration at the Apollo Theater on Monday night. The New York Daily News reports Poehler wasn't the only heavy hitter in the crowd. From Alasdair's Thunder Blank, a drag performer who won season 2 of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars, to the controversial televangelist and the anti-LGBTQ pastor Joel Osteen, the event that drew an eclectic mix of fans, industry insiders, and celebrities from the movies such as Catherine Zeta-Jones, Michael Douglas, in the music universe, Clive Davis, Adam Lambert, and from the fashion area, Alexander Wang, and television, John Oliver, Camila Mendez, and America's gay royal couple and the Harlem residents, Neil Patrick Harris and husband, David Bercotta. So Joel Osteen's presence was curious because Lady Gaga has championed the LGBTQ causes for quite a while. Lady Gaga is known for her risque performances and the lack of modest attire. Now, being that Joel Osteen is a charlatan who has been given over to the lust of this world and bilks millions from people every day and every dime, this doesn't come to any surprise that he and his wife Victoria would immerse themselves in this culture of demonic influence, sex, and greed. Now, it was reported that Joel Osteen was wearing a blue blazer while his wife was wearing a long black dress. The picture of the two, as you can see here. Interestingly, Joel Osteen asserted a few years ago that he believes, he doesn't know, he believes that the scriptures are clear, that homosexuality is a sin, yet he has continuously softened his tone and downplayed the significance towards homosexuality since then. Now, in an effort to remain culturally relevant and inclusive, Joel Osteen generally avoids this topic altogether. Joel Osteen's ministry has produced a number of lookalike worldly, money-hungry pastors, including his very own apprentice, John Gray, who was caught cheating on his wife and made amends by buying her a $200,000 Lamborghini while living in a $1.8 million home paid for by his church. Now, clearly the word is very specific when it says, "Therefore go out from their midst, and be separate from them, says the Lord, and touch no unclean thing, then I will come to you." Yet we have here Joel and Victoria Osteen at an LGBTQ event. We can certainly surmise, based upon this article, that they weren't there to preach. So why would they commingle or taint themselves if they're truly ministers of the Most High and commingle with this particular audience? It does beg someone to ask a few questions. And you would hope that the members of that church and their partners, if they're true believers, they would ask the same question.
All right, today I'm going to talk about the United Nations again and the Sustainable Development Goal number 5 for gender equality by 2030. Let's try to see what it really means. All right. Now, first of all, remember back in 2016, Wonder Woman was appointed UN Honorary Ambassador for the Empowerment of Women and Girls and will be tasked with raising awareness about Goal 5 of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which seeks to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls by 2030. And now if you look at this symbol, it's actually Venus and Mars. And this is what the Kabbalah uses for their 7 planetary forces. The campaign takes its place in a long history of initiatives by the United Nations on behalf of securing gender equality. That includes such efforts such as Planet 50/50 by 2030, He for She, and Unite to End Violence Against Women. Kind of sneaking in there with women's rights. On women, again, this symbol here with the circle, and then you got the 2 lines, but it's very similar to the Venus symbol. You got the rainbow there, the rainbow flag. Planet 50-50 by 2030. Step it up for gender equality. Step it up asks governments to make national commitments that will close the gender equality gap, from laws and policies to national action plans and adequate investment. Step it up comes at a critical moment in time. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development provides a comprehensive roadmap for the future of people and planet. Passing new laws or strengthening existing ones is one way to step it up. Investing in national action plans or policies for gender equality. Creating public education campaigns to promote gender equality, and many more. Everyone has a role to play to make gender equality a lived reality by 2030. Now is a critical moment in the struggle for gender equality. As the world gives shape to a new development agenda, we have set our sights on 2030 as the expiration date for gender inequality. He for she. He for she is an invitation for men and people of all genders to all genders. Well, there's really only two, but let's use the word all. Take action to create a gender equal world. Almost 2 million gender equality commitments and counting. Yeah, look at that. You can be an FTM too. There it is. That's a she for she. All right, now this is the United Nations Population Fund. What is gender equality doing on the Population Fund? Gender equality is also a precondition for advancing development and reducing poverty. Addressing the world's most urgent challenges, gender equality remains an unfulfilled promise. It's an unfulfilled promise. Let's go back to Wonder Woman. And Wonder Woman is a modern representation of one of the oldest and most powerful goddesses in the ancient world, still being worshipped today by the elite, all right, by the Kabbalists and the Freemasons and the alchemists, which are basically all the same thing. The name is Inanna, which is really Ishtar is the more common name. Ashtoreth, Astarte, Aphrodite. So it goes by many different names, and even Diana. That's right, Diana. Wonder Woman's name is actually Diana Prince. That's the name of the character, the real name, Diana Prince. Prince is used for entities, for gods with a small g. Love, beauty, sex, desire, fertility, war, justice. Remember, we saw the word justice and political power. Okay, so basically what I'm getting at is Ishtar was appointed UN honorary ambassador for gender equality, an ancient goddess, possibly the most powerful one, worshipped all over the ancient world. Queen of Heaven, associated with the planet Venus, the lion. All right, most prominent symbols include the lion and the 8-pointed star. Her husband was Tammuz. All right, now these gods and goddesses are in the Bible. And look at this. The cult of Inanna, Ishtar, which may have been associated with a variety of sexual rites, including homosexual transvestite priests and sacred prostitution. Now, what is a homosexual transvestite priest? Known more commonly as a sodomite. That's right, a male cult prostitute, a male temple prostitute. Look at this. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel. Okay, so whore, daughter, whore is used for female, nor a sodomite of the sons, homosexual transvestite priests, prostitute, and sacred prostitution. So these sacred prostitutes were like tranny priests. So when I say sodomite means tranny hookers, nobody believed me, all right? That's what it means, all right? Do the math. The modern day meaning of the word sodomite's a little bit different, a little bit more general and broad. Back then, a very specific application, because this was what was practiced in the worship of Wonder Woman, all right? Wonder Woman is Ishtar. Ishtar is the goddess of tranny hookers. And Ishtar was a UN ambassador for gender equality. You're starting to get the picture now. 2030 agenda. She was the highest deity in the pantheon. Later influenced the development of the Greek goddess Aphrodite. Inanna appears in more myths. Wonder Woman appears in more myths than any other Sumerian deity. Many of her myths involve her taking over the domains of other deities. Kind of like the plan is today, isn't it? Divine justice, right? Enforcer of divine justice, just like they said in the UN agenda. All right, now you see this. Here's the 8-pointed star. Here's the lion, right? The coat of arms of people in the elite always have a lion. Okay, that's what that means. The lion is Ishtar. And there's the sun and the moon and the 8-pointed star, goddess of warfare and sexuality. There's the 8-pointed star again right there. All right, the wings, the eagle, the bird. When you see an image of a bird, it's the image of Wonder Woman, the goddess of the trannies. When there's twins, or even a marriage, or especially when they're married to their brother or sister, it just represents the duality of one person, the male and female elements of one individual. See the wings right there, right? The Baphomet comes from ancient gods as well, so you got to wonder, is the Baphomet just a more modern representation of Diana? Inanna has become an important figure in modern feminist theory. So you can see this UN agenda is really the Venus agenda, the V, right? The V. When you see the V, it means Venus. And it also kind of looks like a Freemasonic compass. The character Buffy Summers in Buffy the Vampire Slayer bears remarkably strong similarities to Ishtar, a powerful female who forces gods and men into submission to her. Broadcast TV hits record percentage of LGBTQ regulars, study finds. So it says here 8.8% of all regular characters this season are LGBTQ. Supergirl introduced audience to TV's first transgender superhero when Nicole Maines made her debut as Dreamer. Yeah, so, you know, all these comic book characters and superheroes, and now they're in all the movies and TV shows, those are just the ancient gods and goddesses, all right? It's run by Kabbalywood. All right, so there's the modern day representation. There's an ancient representation, the goddess of transvestite, prostitutes, and priests, otherwise known as sodomites, right? Here's the wings, right? You got the wings, you got the 2 V's, the Venus, you got the eagle thing, the bird symbolism. You got it here again, too. The wings, it's the same exact thing. 8-pointed star of Ishtar is right on the forehead, right there, with the big V, all right? There it is. You see it pretty well right there. The 8-pointed star of Ishtar is right there. The goddess of transvestite prostitutes for occult rituals was named United Nations Ambassador for Gender Equality. Yeah, even the cartoons are a bunch of trannies these days, right? Jewish military background, no hips, broad shoulders, large skull. So we're really coming into the age of the androgyne with Wonder Woman as the goddess. This is Ishtar, is come back, all right? Ishtar is back. There's a he for she. All right, and now in politics, the Wonder Woman theme continues. The United Nations 2030 agenda seems to be doing quite well. It's official. A record-breaking number of women have won seats in Congress. Now, this is the U.S. Midterm elections last week. We got David Charisse, otherwise known as Charisse Davids. And this one here, we all know about this one already. Now, this one's already said that he wants to run for president. So this could be our next president. I do believe the next president, or else the next one after that, is going to be a male to female, transsexual in the tradition of Ishtar. Political power. It will help push along the 2030 agenda. And these people, actually, these MTFs, I think are more powerful. Well, obviously they are. They're more powerful than the FTMs, right? Because they have the male energy. Wonder Woman, right there in this article. Wonder Woman was protesting. Oh, look at Kavanaugh is aggressive. Kavanaugh played a dual role. Kavanaugh got in touch with his feminine side. There were 110 women elected to Congress. Women who are actually men. This one is especially frightening. Look, he's got the equal sign right there, right? Human Rights Campaign. Equals. Got the free and equal. It's equal. This person has achieved gender equality. 12 years ahead of schedule. Oh, look at this. Look at all the people behind him. Look at that. A bunch of dudes. Look at that Adam's apple there. This is the Wonder Woman takeover. It's the Ishtar takeover. It's the goddess of transvestite priests and prostitutes. That's a Hygera. So the Hygeras in India are the modern day ancient transvestite hookers, the modern day sodomites. They remain today. Maxine Waters, yes, excellent. Maxine Waters is classic. Oh, this one too, Tulsi Gabbard. This one's probably going to run for president, which I said like a year ago. No one ever heard of this person. I said, hey, the tranny on the surfboard is going to run for president. Yeah, that's a dude right there. All right. That is a dude with lipstick. Team Underwood, Team Tranny. Now in the Bible, Inanna or Ishtar is actually goes by the name of Ashtoreth, at least in the King James. It may be different in different translations. For Solomon went after Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Zidonians, and after Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites. So Solomon, see that?
Starting on page 18, the archaeological artifacts suggest that in all the Neolithic and early Chalcolithic societies, the divine ancestress, generally referred to by most writers as the mother goddess, was revered as the supreme deity. On page 19, though at first the goddess appears to have reigned alone, at some yet unknown point in time, she acquired a son or brother, depending on the geographic location, who was also her lover and consort. He is known through the symbolism of the earliest historic periods and is generally assumed to have been part of the female religion in much earlier times. Professor E.O. James writes, whether or not this reflects a primeval system of matriarchal social organization, as is by no means improbable, the fact remains that the goddess at first had precedence over the young god with whom she was associated as her son or husband or lover. It was this youth who was symbolized by the male role in sacred annual sexual union with the goddess. This ritual is known from historic times, but is generally believed to have been known in the Neolithic period of the religion. Known in various languages as Dumuzi, Tammuz, Attis, Adonis, Osiris, or Baal, this consort died in his youth, causing an annual period of grief and lamentation among those who paid homage to the goddess. The symbols and rituals connected with him will be more fully explained in the chapter on the male consort, but wherever this dying young consort appears as the male deity, we may recognize the presence of the religion of the goddess. The legends and lamentation rituals, of which are extraordinarily similar in so many cultures. I hope you're all getting what the mystery religions are all about now. Reading on page number 22. Upon closer scrutiny, however, it becomes clear that so many of the names used in diverse areas were simply various titles of the great goddess, epithets such as the Queen of Heaven, the Lady of the High Place, Celestial Ruler, Lady of the Universe, Sovereign of the Heavens, Lioness of the Sacred Assembly, or simply Her Holiness. Often the name of the town or city was added, which made the name even more specific. We are not, however, confronting a confusing myriad of deities, but a variety of titles resulting from diverse languages and dialects, yet each referring to a most similar female divinity. Once gaining this broader and overall view, it becomes evident that the female deity in the Near and Middle East was revered as goddess, much as people today think of God. Reading further down on that same page, in Robert Grace's translation of The Golden Ass by Roman writer Apuleius of the 2nd century AD, the goddess herself appears and explains, I am nature, the universal mother, mistress of all elements, primordial child of time, sovereign of all things spiritual, queen of the dead, queen also of the immortals, the single manifestation of all gods and goddesses that are. My nod governs the shiny heights of heaven, the wholesome sea breezes, the lamentable silence of the world below. Though I am worshipped in many aspects, known by countless names, and appropriated with all manner of different rites, yet the whole round earth venerates me. Now I'm going to stop there and just inform you that later on she says that she should be called by her real name, Isis. And if you have seen some of my latest video about the Lady in Red or the Scarlet Woman, in there I tell you that according to the Freemasons themselves, they refer to themselves as the sons of Isis. So to finish this, I will be reading a little bit from page 26 and a little from page 27, and hopefully we will have a complete idea of what the mystery religions really are about and at their pantheistic roots. In Mesopotamia, the goddess is supreme, wrote Professor Henry Frankfurt in his 1948 publication, Kingship of the Gods. because the source of life, according to him, the source of all life is seen as female. Hence the god too descends from her and is called her son, though he is also her husband. In the ritual of the sacred marriage, the goddess holds the initiative throughout. Even in the condition of chaos, the female Tiamat is the leader and Apsu is merely her male complement. Now over to page 27. A description of the relationship between the goddess and her son/lover was included by Professor E.O. James in his 1960 publication, The Ancient Gods. He explained her supremacy in this way. It was she who was responsible for his recovery and resuscitation, on which the renewal of nature depended, so that in the last analysis, Inanna/Ishtar, not Tamuzi or Tammuz, was the ultimate source of life and regeneration. Though the young god as her agent was instrumental in the process, with the establishment of her husbandry and domestication, however, the function of the male in the process of regeneration became more apparent and vital, and the mother goddess was then assigned to a spouse to play his role as the begetter, even though, as in Mesopotamia, for example, he was her youthful son/lover or her servant. From India to the Mediterranean, in fact, she reigned supreme, often appearing as the unmarried goddess. Now, I'm sure that was a lot. I hope it suffices to give you a full, proper understanding of who is being referred to as that great city which reigns over the kings of the earth. It's a reference to the Queen of Heaven, who is called Babylon the Great. Some final reminders before I end this video. The Queen of Heaven, or Babylon the Great, has always been represented by the star Venus. Another name for Venus is Lucifer. And not only that, but a symbol of Babylon is the dragon. You can find these facts explained in greater detail in some of my other videos. Knowing these things, it should make a lot more sense when you consider why it's so important that the Pope and the Jesuits and so forth and so on all want to bring us back under Rome again, because Rome is the seat right now of the Queen of Heaven. And not only that, but even if we do go into a new world religion, such as a earth worshipping religion, in the end it's pantheism, and pantheism, or the mystery religion, always venerates the goddess above the god. So while the Antichrist will emerge someday on the scene, you can expect the dragon to also be there. And from what you have learned today, hopefully you have learned it, the dragon is the Queen of Heaven. I will end this now by thanking you for watching. As always, be a good Berean and search the scriptures to see if these things are so. If anything that I have said is true or good, then it came from the Father God in heaven. So once again, thank you for watching. Jesus bless you. And I truly hope that after this you have a greater understanding of mystery Babylon the Great.
God gender neutral. Episcopal Church debates altering language in Book of Common Prayer to make it clear God is not male. They're going to make it clear. How is Sweden making the church gender neutral? Changing the words, the pronouns? U.S. Episcopal Church mulls radical plan to make God gender neutral. May follow Church of Sweden in removing spiritually exclusive terms like Holy Father. And the Church of England tells schools to let children explore gender identity. Pupils need to be able to play with the many cloaks of identity to explore the possibility of who they might be. All right, well, we're straight out of the Kabbalah, straight out of the Talmud, straight out of Freemasonry, ancient Babylonian mysticism. So here, this is from Teen Vogue. Teen Vogue magazine, all right? This is aimed at teenagers. Who reads Teen Vogue? Teenagers. Those are the only people who read Teen Vogue. All your questions about gender-neutral pronouns answered, from grammar to what to do if you mess it up. Well, they're making it illegal to use the proper pronouns now. All right, this is fascism. This is trans fascism. When I tell someone that my preferred pronouns are they, them, their, I never know what to expect. And basically what they're doing now in schools is that you have to inform people what your preferred pronoun is. You can choose your own pronouns now in schools. And then if somebody doesn't know what your pronoun is, they're like guilty of assault or something. Why use they instead of he, she? Well, I'll tell you why. Let's look at Genesis verse 27. Male and female created he them. Them is plural, meaning more than one person. So you can have one male and one female created them. Now, if they change the meaning of this word to be talking about one person, then you have male and female. He created that one person. They're saying God created that one person, both male and female. They are changing the definition of this word from more than one person. They're changing it to talk about only one person. And they're changing the image of God when they do that. Because if this person was one person, both male and female, then God was also both male and female. That's what they're doing, all right? And in doing so, they are actually recreating human beings. This is their plan, and this is going to result in the Great Tribulation when people refuse to go along with it. Now, right now, most people don't even know this is happening. This is happening. So they're basically rewriting Genesis 1 so that we all end up worshiping this person and all end up looking like this person. A lot of people already look like this person. For example, right? I mean, that's a movie, okay? That's your androgynous God right there, okay? A lot of people already look like the Baphomet. The male jaw you got there, male cheekbones, male eye sockets. But you got the red lipstick. Oh, well, I guess you're a woman, huh?
Thou shalt not lie with mankind, as with womankind. It is abomination. The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment, for all that do so are abomination unto the Lord thy God.
Doesn't matter if you're a boy, girl, or somewhere in between. We all are part of one big family. Gaming's happy. Queer kid stuff. You are enough here at Queer Kid Stuff.
Yeah.
Is everything in place?
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave. What's your problem?
Yo, I'm a paparazzi. I don't play no Yahtzee. I go pop, 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 pop. My camera's up your crotch.
If you want to be a drag queen and your parents don't let you, you need new parents. If you want to be a drag queen and your friends don't let you, you need new friends. Super pumped. I'm gonna walk the runway and I'm gonna Vogue.
Virgin voguing, because he's been taking voguing classes with Gerard X. Reyes, who's fantastic. He's doing first time in drags at a ball.
For this cause, God gave them up unto vile affections. For even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another, men with men working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was meet. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind, to do those things which are not convenient.
You see, I take these glasses off, she looks like a regular person, doesn't she, huh? Put them back on, formaldehyde face.
Old Man River, that old man river.
You know, you look like your head fell in the cheese dip back in 1957.
The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world, built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into this.
Drag Queen Story Hour.
This one is called Worm Loves Worm.
Talking, singing, and reading.
We can both be grooms.
To an audience of preschoolers, toddlers, and their caregivers.
The hips on the drag queen go swish, 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 swish. I'm a girl.
Stop. Let me out. Let me out. I wanna... Look at them, they're everywhere. Now hold on. You ain't the first son of a bitch to wake up out of their dream.
The day my water broke, I was recording Jessica Rabbit.
No. I don't believe it. It's not possible. You know what you need? You need a Brazilian plastic surgeon.
I've got one that can see.
Were you listening to me, Neo? Or were you looking at the woman in the red dress? I was. Look again.
I wrote unto you in an epistle not to company with fornicators, yet not altogether with the fornicators of this world, or with the covetous, or extortioners, or with idolaters, for then must ye needs go out of the world. But now I have written unto you not to keep company if any man that is called a brother be a fornicator, or covetous, or an idolater, or a railer, or a drunkard, or an extortioner. With such an one, know not to eat. For what have I to do to judge them also that are without? Do not ye judge them that are within? But them that are without, God judgeth. Therefore put away from among yourselves that wicked person.
The gains have been substantial, both for ourselves and for you, the human power elite. You have given us entree to the resources we need in our ongoing quest for multidimensional expansion.
You still don't get it, do you, boys? There ain't no countries anymore. No more good guys. They're running the whole show. They own everything.
He's a tall, Caucasian male, doesn't appear armed, wearing sunglasses.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Over the horizon, over the horizon. Oh yeah.